Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 8. Duḥkham ityeva yat karma kāya-kleśa-bhayāt tyajet sa kṛtvā rājasaṁ tyāgaṁ naiva tyāga-phalaṁ labhet. In the previous Sloka, we learnt about tamasa tyaga, where he gives up the karmas out of delusion, mohat, wrongly thinking that which is actually beneficial for him to be useless. In this verse 8, we will learn about rājasa tyaga, where he also gives up the karmas, just like the previous one, the tamasa tyaga. But unlike the previous one, the rājasa tyāgaṁ has two different reasons for giving up the karmas. And also the sloka will explain that such person will not receive the benediction that one will receive through sattvika tyaga. Now let's pause here and ask a question. We thought that one should not be inclined towards any benediction, benefits, rewards. But we are hearing here that those who are doing rājasa tyaga will not receive the same benediction, benefits that one will receive by performing sattvika tyaga. How is that? Are we not supposed to give up the phalam, the results of one's activities? Answer is yes, that's very true. One must give up the phalam, phalatyaga, the fruits of one's activity. By performing sattvika tyaga, which will be our subject for discussion in the next verse. But to answer this question, we should know by performing sattvika tyaga, the result that one get, the benefits one get is different from what needs to be given up. What is to be given up is the material rewards, whereas the reward that one get by sattvika tyaga is not material. It is jnana, knowledge, proper knowledge. That is what one gets as a result when one performs tyaga in the mode of goodness. And such reward is not of any faults. First of all, one who performs sattvika tyaga does not expect anything for that matter. Secondly, though he receives it, it is not material. So what has been said in this sloka, as we are going to discuss rājasa tyaga, is those who performs rājasa tyaga will not get the benefits that one receives by performing sattvika tyaga. What is the benefit? The jnana, the knowledge, will not be received when we perform rājasa tyaga. That knowledge which will help one in their self-realization. This is devoid in rājasa tyaga. Let's be clear here. Both the groups, rājasa tyaga and then sattvika tyaga, does tyāgaṁ, gives up. But in rājasa tyāgaṁ, it is the karma, the activities itself given up. In the sattvika tyaga, the karmas are performed, but the phalam, the rewards are given up. This is not to say that by performing sattvika tyaga, one must perform karma and that karma will directly give moksha. That is not the right way of understanding. Karma doesn't have a capacity to offer liberation directly. That is, the yajna, dana, tapa, all those things, nitya naimittika karmas, will not give liberation directly. But when it is done very meticulously, religiously, it increases the sattva guna and decreases the rajoguna and tamoguna. Also, the sins in the form of obstacle in the path of bhakti will also be removed, which then will accelerate the sattva to develop further. Through this process, one will gain a proper jnana, knowledge, through which one can attain moksha. Jnanat mokshaha, as it is said. But it is not just a jnana, kevala jnana, dry knowledge, but that knowledge should be with bhakti, bhakti rupa jnana. Just having jnana without bhakti will lead one into mental speculation. So one more time, the karma yoga doesn't give moksha directly. It gives a proper knowledge, and that knowledge with bhakti is what going to give liberation, moksha. So we should note that both sattva guna and performing one's prescribed duty, karma, are intertwined. It is due to sattva guna one performs karma, giving up the phalam. It is by performing karma, giving up phalam, one develops sattva guna. So they both are very tightly connected. So the rajoguna person, rather understanding clearly that by performing karma, it is going to help him gradually to attain jnana and bhakti, this person thinks totally different. He sees them to be a pain, distress, disturbing, and therefore he decides to give up his duties, karmas. Now first learn the meaning and then get into the details of the sloka. Yaha, he who very well knows that karma leads to liberation in due course, duḥkham ityeva, for the reason that it calls for expenses, kāya-kleśa-bhayāt, out of fear of physical hardship, karma, the action, tyajet, gives up, saha, he, rājasaṁ, in the mode of passion, tyāgaṁ, renounces, relinquishes, kṛtvā, having done, tyāga-phalaṁ, the reward of tyaga sanctioned in the shastras, that is, purification of the mind, na labhet, will just not gain or attain. Translation: anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. What has been said here is that there are some people who do not perform actions, do not perform their karmas because of the fear that it would involve spending money. It will bring tiredness to the body and thus cause depression to the mind. Therefore, they do not perform the prescribed duties. They do not perform nitya naimittika karmas. This is simply because of their rajoguna. They don't understand by taking up this route, they are not going to acquire the fruit that a sattvic person gets by performing sattvika tyaga. So, two reasons for these people to give up their karma: not only kamya karma, the desire prompted activities, they also give up the obligatory and occasional karmas, nitya and naimittika karma. What are the two reasons? Number one, it gives suffering, duḥkham. Duḥkham ityeva, yaga, yajna, dhana, tapas, these actions involve lot of expenses, monetary expenses. It is not easy to earn so much money. It involves much hardship. Money doesn't come by itself. One has to put effort to earn that money. Therefore, it's painful. It's a painful effort must be put into earning money. Not only that, the earned money needs to be protected. That's another duḥkham problem. So that is number one reason. Number two reason is fear that these karma will bring bodily discomfort, kāya-kleśa. By performing actions, it brings so much of physical strain. One has to get up, one has to do this, one has to do that, sometimes one has to fast. Many things are involved. Based on these two reasons, these people do not undertake karmas. The difference between the previous one and this one, the person who is in tamoguna thinks dharma to be adharma, adharma to be dharma, good thing to be bad thing to be good thing. Whereas here, the person who is in rajasic, who is performing rajasa tyaga, he does not see dharma to be adharma. He does not think that karma to be adharma. He understands that it is dharma. There is no confusion in that part, unlike the previous one. But the reason that he doesn't want to do his prescribed duties is because he feels that it involves expenses, monetary expenses, and it brings physical stress and strain. And for those who are interested in being focused in their dhyana, in their meditation, in their path of spiritual perfection, one should not have any sort of stress. These things, the money and physical work, will bring stress, will bring mental depression. Therefore, they think one should give up the karmas. We hope that the difference between the rājasa tyaga and tamasa tyaga are clear here. Both of them give up the karmas. The tamasa tyaga is where a person gives up karma because he doesn't feel any use of it. He feels it is not even dharma, it is adharma. Whereas the rājasa tyaga person sees that it is dharma, but by doing this one, it's too much of expenses involved and lot of physical stress and strain involved, which will bring mental disturbance. If one is disturbed mentally, then one will not be able to perform dhyana. Therefore, he thinks these karmas needs to be given up. In our next session, we'll see how exactly these people who perform rājasa tyaga gives up karma. How, because of these two reasons, they strongly feel that the karmas needs to be abandoned. Namaste. Hare Krishna.